Hi, Evanel. Ooh, this is a big bottle. Well, hi, Julie. Get these down. Hi, Sarah. I'm going to start out with a fresh sponge today. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about that as well. I'm wondering if this might work with the Sponge Brayers too. I'm going to have to give this a shot at the end and see. Let's see. Hi, Jocelyn. Thank you for sharing, Julie. I appreciate all the shares you guys do. Thank you very much. Hi, Marilyn. Little Stamper. Little Stamper's okay. He just has a really bad cold. Thank you for asking. That was very kind of you. So I just wanted to make sure he didn't have a ear infection or bronchitis or pneumonia. But he just has an upper respiratory infection. So he's doing very well. Thank you for asking. Crispy morning in Calgary. Yeah, it's very brisk out, to put it mildly, today around here, as a matter of fact. Thanks for the sharing, Diana. So I have on still my nice clothes. So I'm going to pull my sleeves up so I don't ruin my nice sweater. Poor little Stamper. Yeah, he's okay. I know I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'd rather pay a copay than have to take him to the hospital. That would not be good. So I had seen these quite often for a while, and then they kind of fell off my feed. And I didn't have this, so I thought I'd order it. So I got this actually from Amazon. It wasn't very expensive, but my God, look at the size of this thing. I'll be using this glycerin forever. So if you're in the area and you come to one of my classes, you can bet we're going to be making glycerin cards. Oh, thank you. I always appreciate the prayers. Thank you, Sarah. That's very kind of you. I know he woke up this morning and he was coughing and he couldn't swallow because the mucus had gotten a little thick, so he was getting a little upset by it. So I thought I better take him just to be on the safe side. So rather be safe than sorry. So I have this monstrosity of glycerin here. Like I said, it's probably going to take me forever to use it, but have any of you all ever done the Glycerin Technique? Because I never have, and I've seen some people saying that it really makes your blending turn out super nice. So I thought what we can do is we'll do a card with sponges. And then while we're at it, because it might make it a little smoother, let's do one with the Sponge Brayer too. And we'll just do like 2 backgrounds and see what they look like. See if one turns out better than the other one. Hey, Karen. So when you get a sponge, by the way, you get 3 of these in a pack. So it's 3, 1, 2, 3 in a pack. And they come whole like this. But I always cut them down. So what I'll do is with this one, this is my last new one, so I have to buy some new ones. And eventually they do kind of start leaving like a little bit of a shedding of the sponge material when they get old. So if you notice that, you can get rid of them. They're not really terrifically expensive. So out of this, if you got 3, you could actually get 12 sponges out of 1 pack. So I cut them into quarters. And they last a very long time. And even though they do have ink on them, I just figured I'd use a fresh one with the glycerin. I don't know why. I'm assuming you can reuse these with the glycerin as well, but I guess I'll find out when I do my next project. But you can rinse them out and they will appear stained, but you can still use them. So some people I know that they will put a tag on them. So what you could do is you could use one of your punches that fits on this and you could put it on there and staple it. That way your fingers won't get dirty. But I just find that I'm kind of messy, so I just have given up the fact that I'm just a messy fingered person. So what I usually do is just rinse them out when I'm finished. Now these that I use in the glycerin, I might put on the side, maybe to just keep them separate. But with doing this, we have a couple different options. So I was kind of thinking what we'll do is we'll do this as a background stamp for a Christmas card. But it's not really going to be like super Christmassy. So if you didn't really necessarily want this to be a Christmas card, we could make it into like a thinking of you, sympathy. You really could even make it into like a male birthday with the colors that we're going to do. So we'll just kind of see how that works out and see what it ends up looking like. Hi, Brina and Cheryl. Thank you. Thank you for the thoughts. Hi, Patricia. Thank you for the sharing, Marilyn. So, let's see. I wanted to grab, I was thinking it would be kind of neat to do it with a tree, but you could even do this and do like the country road in the background. I saw another lady did one with this in the background, but it's very popular. I also saw another one done with the Enjoy Life, because you kind of will stamp the stuff and then you can bring the background. So this would probably be really good for like a sunset or a sunrise stamp. Another fun one to do would maybe be the Joy to the World. So we could do, let's do one of these because this will be fun. I've seen them done with a lot of trees, which I think is really cool for the Christmas cards. But this is one from last year. Everybody might have this one because this one was a super popular stamp last year. So we'll do one with the Joy to the World with the houses, and then we'll do one with the trees. So I'm just going to get the houses out and we'll kind of figure out where we're going to stamp these. And while we're at it, I'm going to add Santa up there too, because that'll be fun. So we'll put Santa, and then you can kind of dress it up if you wanted to. And if you don't want to make this a Christmas card, you could just obviously leave Santa and the reindeer off. And then the other one we'll do that one with, what do we have here? Winter Woods would be a good one to do, because you can do the trees with it. And we'll do this one. We'll do Winter Woods, and we'll do that with the brayer. But you could do farmhouse if you wanted to do maybe the truck. I've also seen people do this with embossing powder. So they're either clear or white embossing the images that they're putting on, and then they're going over it the other way. So we'll see how it turns out. Another good one will be the trees, which I can't think of the stamp set right this second. Here we go. This will be really nice too. This is what I thought I saw someone use. Nature Sings. They used the trees because you can bunch these together, lighter and darker. And obviously we don't want to do Halloween since that's a little bit past. But another fun one which kind of popped in my head would be this one, Night in Bethlehem. You could do the buildings in the background and then brush over it with that. So that would be pretty too. So just some other suggestions. Lovely as a Tree would be really nice, but I really think that Winter Woods is overtaking Lovely as a Tree in popularity. But that's another great set, Diana. That's definitely a really good idea. Okay. So what we're going to do, and again, I haven't done this before, so bear with me. I usually try to do these with you guys. I am going to get out my big block. This is, I believe, and I just want to wipe this off and make sure it's actually clean. We're going to use this for our ink and the glycerin. And I'm going to just stamp these little images on, and we'll see what this turns out like. Hopefully it'll be cool. The ones that I've seen, it looks really nice with the way that they blend the colors together. So that would be the only one thing, is you're going to have to remember, like, however it is that you blend the stuff, you know, how is it that you want it to go. So I'm going to put one of these on the side. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do a few of the houses. So let's see if we put 2 of these kind of together. So I'm going to do 2 of them together. And then I'm going to put the other one on a block by itself. And that way we can kind of decide like what we want. Because I want some of them to be darker and some of them to be lighter. So I'm going to do these kind of like it would be, let's say if it would be like at nighttime. So I'm going to do the houses in navy. Oh, Bobby is on now? I didn't know that. Oh, that makes me sad. I'm taking people from Bobby. No, but if you go back and watch her, I won't be mad if you leave and go watch her. Believe me. This will be on here for the replay later, so you go right ahead. She does come on Wednesdays at 1. See, this threw off the whole schedule probably of everybody. So if you want to leave and finish watching Bobby, you're not going to hurt my feelings. This will be here. I'll probably still be going when you get back, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to stamp these in Night of Navy. And then I'm going to stamp them again, kind of over like it's different houses. Just stamping them off. They're a little crooked, but that's okay. Put this one in front. And let's see. So have a little scrap. I just want to stamp this off before I stamp this one again. Oh God, that's totally crooked. Ugh. Well, that house is going to be on a hill, I'm guessing. We'll see. We'll see. This house is on a hill. I'm going to have to put some other houses in front of it. This is why, you know, I kind of resigned myself to the fact of with the stickers. This would be good for masking right now. So I'm going to, with the stickers, that it would be really great that I need to put the rest of the stickers on that I have originally kind of taken off. Because I can't tell if stuff is straight or not. And it's kind of really starting to irritate me. So I'm really excited about these cling stamps that I'll actually be able to put the sticker on and see what it is that I'm stamping. So, all right, I'm going to put 2 more of these houses on since this is crooked to kind of overlay, hopefully cover some of it up. We'll see. So I'll put, and these are going to be houses, now that I think about it, that are going to kind of be in the brush, if that makes sense. So they're not going to be on a street. They're going to have grass. So we're going to just blend this in. This is going to be like one of those fantasy neighborhoods that you saw. If you guys, some of you are probably old enough, and some of you also remember seeing these on commercials where they would show how these planned developments are going to be. And now look where we all live. Isn't that kind of ironic? But they had all these neighborhoods where everything was all lined up, and Epcot actually had some of these, the neighborhoods of tomorrow. And they were going to plan how everything was going to be. So this is going to be one of those planned neighborhoods. All right, so I'm going to let this one dry in the meantime. The only other thing I want to stamp, I do want to stamp Santa Claus up there. So we're going to do part of this in, we're going to make it darker, and part of it we'll do the sky. So, let's see. Where's he going? He's going to go up. So we'll put him kind of in the middle. You could also add in the moon if you wanted to. That actually is pretty good placement for Santa, considering that was a shocker right there. You gotta grab your charger. You sound like me. I actually remembered to plug my phone in last night. That's how I should have known it was the kiss of death, and I wouldn't be able to do it when I was supposed to today. Okay, so I'm gonna let this one dry, and in the meantime, I'm going to do the Winter Woods. So we'll see which one we like better. I'm gonna do the trees for the Winter Woods. I'm not going to do anything else. So just the trees for that. So again, what I was saying is a couple times people have done this with embossing. So they emboss the trees either in Whisper White or in clear, whichever one you prefer to do. And then it kind of gives you that emboss resist. So that's another thing you could try as well. Let me press this on. So I did put my sticker on for these trees. So hopefully it'll stay. We'll see what it does. And then these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these in a gray. And I think I'm going to do them just for the dark effect. I'm going to do them in basic gray, so they're pretty dark. You have a long class. Yeah, that's, well, thank you, Karen. That is very putting it nicely, meaning I go on and on and on, because I've been trying to rein myself in so things don't take quite as long, because, I don't know, I guess some of you, I appreciate it, but some of you really like to stick with me, and I really love you for that, because I know sometimes an hour, you're probably like, all right, Rachel, get on with it already. It's enough. So I'm going to put this kind of centered. Hopefully you find that funny. That's the way I intended it. All right, so there is one bunch of trees, and then I'm just going to add on a few more. You can also do this if you wanted to by stamping off once. Which I'm going to do that for one of these, because I'm going to stamp one off. Should have done that before. And then I'm going to put these up just a little bit. So they're kind of sticking up in the back. That way it kind of gives you that more of a foresty feel. Like there's more trees there. And then these will bring down a little closer. And then before I re-ink, I'm going to just move it over a little bit. There you go. So it kind of gives you like that levels of forest look. So another cool thing you could do with this, which I know we have numerous of these. We do have a couple of those sloping snow lines. So if you wanted to hide the bottom of it, you could always use that little curvy piece. I believe it's in the Farmhouse Framelit stamp set, or the Thinlit set. And what that'll do is kind of hide the bottom if you don't like the way that the trees are multiple layers of trees. But we're going to work with it and see what it's going to turn out to look like. Take all the time you need. You're very nice. Thank you, Patricia. I appreciate that. And thank you, Diane. I really like that. Oh, you guys are so nice. You make me feel very happy. Thank you. Now I don't feel so bad about being long-winded. You guys really know how to make a person feel good. Okay, so let me move all these stamps over. So again, we used Winter Woods and we used Hearts Come Home. So if you wanted to use those same ones. So this one should be pretty well dry by now. So now we're going to start, hopefully, where the magic is. Here we go with my sleeves again. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one first. Let this one have a little bit longer to dry. And you can do this two ways. You can either drop re-inker if you wanted to, or you can go ahead and just take your ink pad. So we'll do a balmy blue. Let's see if we can do this in more than one layer. I don't know how it's going to work. And what you do is you just stamp your pad onto your block. And you could also do this on two sides. If you have a bigger block, you could do 4 different ones. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take, and I do need a scrap for this. Let me grab mine. I have a piece of scrap. Just a piece of grid paper here. That way, in case I want to blend it off just to see what it looks like before we start. Hello, Rhonda from Nevada. Thanks for joining. So I'm going to take this. It's probably going to come out fast. So I only want to put like one little drop, which I might need to move this into a smaller container because this looks like an accident waiting to happen. There we go. Ooh, that was a miracle. So I have just a little drop here for now. I'll put the lid on. I do also have my, like those shop utility towels. I use these for wiping stuff off. So, okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick up a little bit of your ink from your block. And then you're going to kind of mix it in with your glycerin, and then you can re-pick up some more ink. Just kind of mix it around. And supposedly, again, this is the first time I've done it, so we'll see. Supposedly, this makes for really smooth blending. So I'm going to just see what it looks like. That's a pretty blue. It's a very pretty blue. So I'm going to see what this looks like. So we're just going to put some blue on here. Let's see. I'm going to make it a little bit more, if I can, concentrated up here at the top. This would be really cool too, because you could almost do that little, and it doesn't bleed your ink, which is kind of a surprise. I thought it would make your ink bleed since it's all the same ink, but I'm guessing because it's floating on top of it. And the cool part is, when you look at it, it definitely has textures of where you start. So if you wanted to, you could kind of start off. But I think it looks kind of neat because it almost makes it look like the loft of like clouds, or, you know, when you go outside and you can see different depth to, even like, especially on a windy day, like you can see the cloud break. So it kind of gives it that appearance. It looks pretty neat. So I'm going to just do a little bit more on the, I want to make it like a little darker around the edges. And what I might do is I'm going to go ahead and wipe this off just for the sake of, I don't know if this would do anything bad to your ink pad or not. So I'm just wiping that off. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to re-ink with my blue again. This is Balmy Blue. So that's pretty concentrated this time. And then I'm going to add one more drop of glycerin over here, hopefully. Oops. There we go. That's good. And then just the same thing again. So I'm going to just pick up a little bit more ink, bring this in a little bit. And that way I can make the edges a little darker. Because I think it kind of gives that framey look to it when you do that. And the cool part is, now if I would have been a little bit more careful, I could have done this at the bottom so this was snow, and then we could add it a little bit more of the, you see it's still a little bit wet here. We could have added like the white gel pen. Do you guys still have a white gel pen? I do, because I love those things. Go a little bit more down here. But it's very soft, and it definitely has a lot of depth to it. So this is just on regular Whisper White paper. I'm sure it looks probably completely different if you do it on thick Whisper White. And I'm wondering if you could try this on glossy. So I'll have to give that one a try sometime when I actually have some glossy to print out. And then what I'm going to do is, so I have my towel here. So with my paper, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take this, just for the sake of drying it, I'm going to push the ink up just to make sure whatever's on there is dry. Kind of like we did when we did that shaving cream, just wiping it off. But it's very soft. It's got a lot of depth to it. Looks pretty neat. Glycerin for making bubbles. You know, and apparently there's something else that I think we use that has glycerin in it. I can't remember if it was the blender pens, I think, have glycerin. So like if you get this will probably last me till I'm 102, hopefully, with the size of it. My goodness, unless I really start making a lot of bubbles. That's okay, Denise, better late than never. A dropper in a small bottle would be such a good idea, right? And shimmer paper would be really pretty. But the other thing is, if you don't do shimmer paper, the other thing we could do at the end is we could add like some frost white. These are my new absolute favorite things. I love those shimmer paints. They're so fun. Okay, so I'm going to wipe this off. Ooh, actually, before I do this, I'm gonna do this for the other one. So I have my trees. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give this a shot and see what it looks like. I'm going to try it with the sponge roller and see, or sponge brayer. So I'm going to slide that up there and I'm going to see what this looks like. I don't know if it's going to give a nicer look, but I'm going to go really light. I think I probably need a little bit more. So let me re-wipe and restart. And then we'll do a darker shade at the bottom of the trees. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go back with the balmy blue. Versamark. Oh, Versamark has it too. I didn't know that. So that's cool. So that's probably why it also will be a little bit stickier for longer, which is good to know. Okay, let's see. I'm not going to say what I think is going to happen, because if I make it through this whole tutorial without that happening, really, I'm going to church tomorrow anyway, but it'll literally be a miracle. So my niece, you guys remember the slightly sideways stamper. She has a little speaking part during church tomorrow, so I'm going to go see her. So she's all excited about that. This actually looks pretty nice. It still has the lines, which that is kind of a thing with the sponge brayer, but it looks really pretty. It's definitely much more smooth than when you regularly use it. And you probably really have to rinse this out and let it dry, but I kind of like it. I'm going to bring it down a little bit in the back so we can kind of have like that horizon line. And oh, this looks pretty cool though when it comes through the trees. So this would probably look super amazing if you did this with white or clear embossing powder on the white. This looks really good. I like this. So this really looks amazing with the sponge brayer. But again, you wouldn't be able to like reuse this from one to one like I sometimes do, because it would probably completely contaminate it. So I'm going to wipe this off yet again. And then we're going to finish up the bottom of both of these cards. Now, for the sake of doing experiments, which you guys know I usually do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to also grab a Dauber. It's kind of like science class when we stamp together. It's like you never know what kind of crazy thing is going to happen. So I'm going to grab a sponge Dauber. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go along the bottom of the tree line in the back here with a little bit of Night of Navy in the glycerin and see what that looks like. Might not be a good thing, but won't know till we try it, so at least give it a shot. Oh yeah, that would be super for the lighthouse set and the waterfront. Do you guys remember that one time when I did the sponge braying for that? Boy, that was a disaster. I'm pretty sure I did that on video too, which was even more embarrassing. And it's live, so you know, that's like so much pressure when you're doing stuff live. But I gotta say, the way you guys are, you have very nice compliments, so thank you for that, because you really know how to make somebody feel not so bad about what kind of goofy stuff they've done. Okay, so I'm just kind of tapping this like you would with your Dauber and see what it looks like. Oh, it's so soft. Really soft. Okay, so I'm going to just tap this again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I flip this upside down so I don't accidentally go up too high. And I'm going to kind of just bring very, 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 very lightly all the way across. Okay, I'm going to do that. Oops, got that on my ink thing there. I'll do this. I'm going to start on this side though instead. Just go up just a little bit into the trees. Because, you know, kind of when you look in the trees, even when it's like snowy or something, you have that little... Oh, this looks really pretty. I'm going to just cover this up a little bit lower here. It has like the trees kind of make that blockaded thing, even in the winter when there's a whole bunch of them together. Go down a little bit lower. And it kind of almost makes it look like snow piles, really, against here. If you can like use your reverse imagination. Okay, so then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this one more time. I have my little orange towel, and I'm going to wipe this down. I'm trying to use like a slightly clean section. That way it will blend it up into that lighter part and keep the white part cleaner. Okay, so now what I'm going to do for this one, so I'm going to try and finish doing this one. Oops, since we already have it here. Just wiping this off again. So I'm going to take, let's see, which one's the lightest? I feel like, I just realized I don't have a smoky slate marker. So gray granite it might have to be, because basic gray is a little dark. Let's see. That's a little dark. Let me see. Instead, let me get out my blender pen. And I'm going to just bring in, so this is a little bit of smoky slate, just to make like that little mound here. Kind of the same in the back, as if something is there. Kind of make it more to one side if you want a shadow of something. And then just like really, really lightly. Just so it looks like they're sitting in something instead. And then if you wanted to, you can also, let's see what this will look like. You can make like a couple, like a little mound where maybe something built up on the snow. Something popping out of it. I don't know. I'm being a little artistically creative here. Okay. So there's that. I don't want to goof this up by adding too much to it, because the other thing you could do with the color of this, and this is very curled from the glycerin, so again, this might work out nicer if you were using thick whisper white. Oh, I don't know, Jenny. That's a stinker. You got to check your Facebook settings, but don't worry, you didn't miss very much in the beginning, because this is really, you can always go back and rewatch too. But you could also put like a shading on the bottom. But I'm afraid if I did that, maybe I could do it with like the reverse tip of my sponge just to give like an edge to it. But I almost don't want to ruin it. So I'm going to let this one sit for a minute. And we're going to go back to this one. We're going to figure out what we're going to add in here on the bottom. Because we could do like gray to this to kind of fill it in. But it might be a little dark. And navy is going to hide those. But I want like something. So we could technically do grass as if it's not. Let's just stick with grass. That's what I was going to kind of do originally, but we'll do it lighter. Do you want olive or mossy? We'll do olive because that looks more like it's at night and it's a color. So we'll do that. So we'll see what this looks like. Hi, Donna. Late, but here. That's okay. You know what? And if a lot of people were watching Bobby, not a thing wrong with that. She's fabulous. I finally got to meet her live and in person when we went to Center Stage, so that was cool. But we only met for a very short time. She just had a brand new grandbaby. She's so excited about. All right, so I'm going to bring in a different sponge. And I'm going to try to be a little light-handed because this Mossy Meadow is quite dark. So I'm going to bring this more to the edge here. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other one. I'm going to start on the opposite end so I don't bring anything too much there. And kind of blend them together. And at this point, the blue should be as dry as it's going to be. Like this town is waiting for the snow to come, whereas the other town already had the snow. It should be already dry, so that blue and that green shouldn't mix. That's probably the only thing you might have to be careful with when you're doing multiple colors, is to make sure that the colors don't mix. Let's see. Do a little bit more with the deeper color down here at the bottom. But the cool thing is too, once you have the glycerin in your sponge, it will kind of soften out whatever it is that you use. Like if you're adding deeper or a darker color to it. And I kind of like that. So you could add like a really dark color at the bottom, but since you already have some glycerin, it'll make it really very soft. So this could be like a Christmas in Australia card, since it doesn't snow there, but I'm not sure that they have this many developments. Of course, I've never been to Australia, so I don't really know. Okay, so there. But you can see it does blend really nicely. Let me blend this one a little bit more, because I did kind of gave that a light. This would also be really good if you wanted to do something, which is a harder one to blend with. If you wanted to do it with, if you have a white pad. Because, you know, sometimes it's hard to get this to blend that it's not too overwhelming. So I bet this with the glycerin, like if you wanted to add snow to things, would be really cool too. The only thing is, if you do anything with a white pigment ink and a sponge, make sure you save it just for that. Because the white pigment ink for sponges, for daubers, and especially for, I'll have one here that has it on there. I know, you know, anytime I pick it up. For the blender pens, I only ever use white with this because you can't really get the pigment ink out of it. So if you have anything you use with the white pigment ink refill, just use it with like just that sponge, just that blender pen or whatever. That way you don't contaminate the rest of your stuff. Okay, so I did meet Dawn Griffith. As a matter of fact, Karen, I met her and her husband, and I've been meaning to share. So when we are finished today, I will share the pictures. I got a picture with her, and then her husband is always funny because he takes a selfie of himself before he takes your picture. So I'll post both of those, but I got to meet her. She was so nice. Such a nice person. I didn't get to meet as many people as I wanted to because there was a few people on my list that it was just kind of crazy and it didn't end up working out, but it was a lot of fun. Definitely so much fun. So this one, I'm going to let this dry a little bit now, and we're going to work back on this one again. What I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go over this with the frost white. And then the same thing like I was telling you with the white ink is when you use these paints. So I finally have all four so I can show them to you. So there's frost white. We could even use champagne just for shimmer. Champagne, there's Vegas gold, and there's copper. You want to make sure that you have a sponge dauber because they do stay very sparkly just for this. So like I could use the frost white for that one or the champagne, but the gold and the copper, they have their own dauber. That way it doesn't get everything else, as you can see, sparkly. So what we'll do is we'll do it with the champagne, and I'm going to put a little bit of champagne on this. They're bleaching your mustache. That's too funny. This is like stampingwithyourbestfriend.com. Maybe that's what I should have named myself. Yeah, she was very funny. She really was. But it was also different because we were just at the center stage event. So I didn't really like get to sit down and have like a super long chat with her. But it was really nice. It was really nice, everybody that I was able to meet. Even some people in Team Stamp It that I hadn't met before. So that was really fun. And our next one is going to be the one I'm going to is in Atlantic City. So when I do the shimmer paints, I put them on a block because if you just put these on directly, it's really concentrated. And especially when it comes to the copper and the gold, it can almost hide some of the stuff. So I'm going to just tap this on. And it gives a really super, you can see this already, just the difference between the two, a sparkle. So this is just plain, and then this side has, it's really pretty though. I think this is one of the coolest things that when, I guess I must have missed this train the last time that Stampin' Up was carrying this, so I'm very grateful that they brought it back. But it's so cool. This is like one of the neatest things ever. You can even put this in, if you haven't seen this already, you can put it in a spritzer with some alcohol, and then you can spray it too. So it's super versatile. But again, let me dip it off a little bit, and then just keep it. And I'm going to add a little bit of this to the snow, so it kind of has that snow look to it, but it's like the trees are frosted. I really like the way this one turned out. It's really pretty. So I'm going to do a little bit heavier concentration down here. Do this with more of a swirl. And I'm going to dip this one more time. Probably I'll say the lightest one I think is the champagne. The frost white is really nice too because it has a little bit of a more of a white look to it. So you could even do that for this one. But you'll see this will give a bigger look to the bottom. So like this actually is snow. There we go. So let me show you guys what that looks like. So you can catch that on the angle. There you go. And you can see the bottom is really shimmery. So it's really pretty. So this doesn't have to be a Christmas card. I mean, this card is very neutral. It could be, you know, unfortunately we all need sympathy cards. It seems like all too often. You could use that. You could use it for like a mail, a mail birthday card, a thinking of you card. If you have somebody that maybe has lost someone during the holiday, it would be a really pretty card to send for that as well. So let me wipe this off. And then we're going to finish this one over here up. What I'm going to do is, I think this one still needs like some sort of a delineation between the, well, these floating houses over here. So I'm going to grab, that's not the color I want. I'm going to grab Old Olive. And I'm going to just bring in a little bit of a line here at the bottom of these houses. Like, not kind of like faux bushes, but also just like a grass line. You could also do this if you feel like you're not going to do a good job of it, which I'm sure you are. You're just giving yourself, this house here doesn't really fit. I don't like this house. So this is going to be one of my don't put these extra houses. And especially this one here that's crooked on a hill. I don't really think this one turned out very well. But again, if I have my stickers on, which I have been going back and putting my stickers on at this point, and I'm going to be using little pieces of the cling stamp to kind of put them with something else. Attach them anyway. Make sure my head's not in the picture there. Sorry about that if it was. You could get fancy. And what you could put, because you know this has this in here, it would kind of look neat if you didn't want to add, like, this is a little smokestack. You could make this like a little trail out of the house if you wanted to. Or you could just take like your, what is this, Sahara sand? Yeah, you could take your Sahara sand marker and kind of make like a little sidewalk, kind of fill it in there. That way at least it has like a little something that's leading away from the house, or like a little square porch. Just a little something, so it's just not floating there in space. This one is beyond saving, because these houses, the builder was definitely making a mistake when they built some of these houses, that's for sure. Could make like a little trail around the back. And then what you can do is go back in again with your other marker and put some bushes there. Put some grass in there. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular, but just kind of something that, like, to add a little something to your goof. If you goofed, but I'm sure you guys aren't going to make a card like this. You could put a little tree here at the bottom, like little bushes like that's coming out to the sidewalk that's non-existent. I hope you at least have come here for the comedy today, because I can provide comedy at no additional charge to you. I hope you appreciate that. You guys, I really do. Thank you for joining me on this journey that sometimes goes obnoxiously wrong. I know, mine don't either. You know, I've gotten to the point where, like, Karen, I pulled some of them off, and, oh, what am I seeing here? Luke. You're the only man. Don't worry, Luke. Somebody has to have the man somewhere. I have the rainbow stamper guy, but he's sick, so he can't stamp today. And you know what? No worries, because you are going to be like a diamond in the rough. So you hang in here. But if you don't have that, I know a lot of people, what they've done is with their stickers is they put like burnt bees on the back of it, or they've put like, I know it's not ideal, and it is very frustrating, and thankfully these are finally going to be fixed, but they've used like the liquid glue to get them to stick. But I know, believe me, that's why I didn't put stickers on, because half the time they fell apart. So that was massively annoying, and I do share in your frustration. So thankfully it looks like it's at least something that's working on getting fixed. And I'm going to put these, just since I think they're both darker cards, I'm going to put them both onto navy, because I think it's also going to do something for the background. So I'm going to put them on navy, and I think I might actually cut this one down a little bit, and I think I might put a mossy meadow background too, just to see. I don't know really what it's going to look like, but since we're here, might as well try it. And then we can add a sympathy to these, or a, not a sympathy, a sentiment to them. We can leave them blank. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and cut this because I am going to use a blue base for both of them. And since these are wet cards, so they're kind of like a little bit more damp because of the glycerin, I'm definitely going to use the Tombow liquid glue because that sticks better than anything else. So I have two bases. So these are just one card sheet that I cut in half. So I scored it at 4 1/4, and then I cut it in half at 5 1/2. So you have two bases. And then I'm going to take this piece, which I already had for something else. I'm going to cut this at 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm just going to do this for one. I'm not going to do it for both. So that'll be on one. And then this one, I think I'm going to just mount this one directly. But I'm going to go ahead and trim this one down a little bit. So I'm going to trim this down to 5. I'm going to cut this side off instead. And I'm definitely going to cut off. I wish I could cut off more of this because these wayward houses here are just a little ridiculous. But live and learn, right? Don't always do what I do because sometimes it doesn't turn out well. So I'm going to mount these, and I'm going to do this definitely with the Tombow. Oh, what is that? That's some funky looking goop on there. That must have gotten dipped into an ink pad. So I'm going to just put this on the back. And I picked everyone who has who has been my customer will be getting their occasions catalog. I finalized my order. So if you don't have a demonstrator and you want a demonstrator, once I get my pack in the mail, I'm going to set this on here just to kind of hold it down for a second. I'll be happy to send you one. All you have to do is email me at rachthestamper@gmail.com. Email me your full mailing address, and I will send you one. I should be getting them usually in the beginning of December. That's the cool part about being a demonstrator. You can pre-order from the occasions catalog. So anybody on here that's a demo, I believe December 5th is our pre-order date. And then for customers, it will be January 3rd. And Celebration is going to be off the chain amazing this year. So you guys are in for like some really super awesome treats. Okay, so this one's definitely my favorite. This house thing, as far as I'm concerned, I could put this in the shredded bin. I don't really like it. I'm going to set this one here just for a minute. And I'm going to put some liquid glue on this. You could watch me all day. I could talk all day, Kara. You'd probably be at one point be like, okay, it's enough. But thank you for that compliment. As you can see, I'm very self-depreciating. I'm sure that doesn't hurt. This looks really nice, though. I do like the mount of the color, because I really never would have thought to combine Mossy Meadow and blue, because those are two pretty dark colors together. But it does give a little bit of something. So, I don't know, maybe like fill in with some little snow mounds or something here. These houses here, like I said, they definitely need to have something done in the background because their foundations are going to fall down. See if I can add a little more grass on that one. This one too. Cover up that faux sidewalk I made. Could probably also do this with my I'm not gonna do it with my Mossy Meadow because that's a little too concentrated. I'll do it with my blender pen. See if I can add in like a little bit of something here, like this one's sitting up on a hill in the background. There you go. That's slightly better. At least it's giving it like a little depth of why it's up there on the hill. And then really light to kind of give that background. Well, that's not so bad back there. If you give it a little bit of a distance, kind of adds to it. And I'm doing my first craft show next. If anybody lives in Hartford or Northern Baltimore County and you're watching in Maryland, this house, they need to tear this down. It's sinking. I will be doing my very first craft show ever next Saturday, December the 8th, at the Forest Lakes Elementary School. So, I'd love to see you there if you're somebody that's local. Even if you're somebody that's local that's a demonstrator, anybody. I'd love to see. I know a lot of people go to a lot of different people's shows. I'm going to fold this. And I'm going to leave these without a sentiment. That way it can kind of leave it to your imagination of what you might want to add to it. But also leaves it open to interpretation, that you don't have to use it for like a specific theme. But really, all in all, I guess this one isn't so bad. Now that we added in like a little bit of depth there for the hill. But anyway, you can get this gigantic bottle on Amazon. And you can make glycerin cards until the cows come home. It's good. It says through 10 of 2020. So, and you know us crafters, we don't throw away alcohol that's expired or anything else, because you can use that forever as long as you're not drinking it, right? Yes, so I'm hoping, yes, thank you, Donna, for the good luck. I'm hoping it'll be fun. Maybe some new people will want to come and stamp, which would be awesome. I can like start up a new club. I'm bringing a whole, don't shred it, send it to you, Martha. Send me your mailing address. You email it to me. I'll send it to you. That's fine. I will be selling some of my cards too, hopefully. So we'll see. So I've been making a lot of cards. I want to, you know what? I want to share these with you guys real quick, because I haven't shared them with anybody yet. And these are, I will tell you one thing. It's definitely, it's all cardstock that's retired. But since you're still here, I'll show them to you. I made all of these. I kind of will say it's like a one-sheet wonder. Let me make sure I get the paper correct. I made all of these cards in one day. So I cut a bunch of this stuff up. So all the stamp sets, the stamps are current. But hold on, there's a couple more in that same color. And then what I did is I just changed up all the sentiments. And like some of the paper. But look at that. So this is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 8 cards out of one 12 by 12 of paper. And I think I had a little bit left for one of these. So that's 8 cards, right? Pretty nice. Out of one sheet. So I'll see if I can do a video on this soon. And then the other one I did, this was one of my favorite papers, so that was hard to part with. So this is a new stamp that's coming out in the Occasions catalog, as is this one. But the paper's super old. This is the thank you, the, I think it's called, oh gosh, what is it called? All Things Thanks. This is from one of the double Better Together birthday sets. And then I just used like some paper. This is another fun one here. And then I still have one other card that I had 2 things and I really wasn't sure how I wanted to put them together. So I had one more of these that I didn't really know what to do with. So I potentially have one more card. So this was one other sheet. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Really, this one could be 9 because I have one more that I just didn't put together yet. But it's a great way, you know, with like Kylie Bertucci was talking about how we all keep our DSP, which believe me, I am the probably second biggest hoarder of DSP in the world. But they're really, it was like fun. So I just cut all these out. I did like 2 of them. And I got this sheet from somebody, so I did not invent this DSP cutting sheet. But I did invent the layouts because I was like, well, what can I do with this? So like this one and then this one are very similar, but I just changed up where I put them, which part was in the front, if I use scallop or regular. But I did use the stitch because I thought that was pretty nice. And then this is another one that's a little bit different because I had a teeny piece left. And then I have an oval, 2 of them that were circles. This one I just added in the Just Breathe. This is in the Colorful Seasons, which I love. And then squares. But essentially just using all of those thinlits, I cut all of this stuff ahead of time, all the DSP, and then I layered it onto a color. So this one is actually retired. This is Wild Wasabi. And then I did it with Mossy Meadow because I thought it kind of brought in the color. And the color that's on these, this is Petal Pink, which doesn't even exist. This is probably maybe Chris Cantaloupe or something. But a lot of them do have mixed colors that you really wouldn't think of putting together. But when they're all together with the flowers, they kind of blend. So also just some like really good ideas with bringing in the crumb cake with the ice cream cones. I think that really brings the colors together because this is Watermelon Wonder. But the thing here I think was actually Strawberry Slush. And in this whatsoever, there definitely wasn't any Peekaboo Peach, but it matches really nicely. So if you have some DSP and you're like, you know, wanting to make some cards, just get a sheet, cut it up. And what I'll do is I will, I'll do a video with this, with making these. And what I'll do is I will just cut them all out ahead of time. but I'll tell you guys what I did for the cuts, and then we'll just put them together. So it might be a little bit long-winded, but I might do like the same thing again where I do all the stamping, and then we'll just layer them together. So really, it was pretty easy. And the funny thing was, the very first time when I cut these, for these cards, I accidentally cut this wrong. So these papers here, the squares, they were supposed to be cut at 3 3/4, but I cut them at 2 3/4 by accident because I was reading the instructions too quickly. And then when I went back and I cut them the way they were supposed to, I didn't really like them as much. So I think I liked them better when I made my goof up. But so look at that. 16 cards now that I can send out for anything or sell at a craft fair or whatever the case may be. And it took me one night. So that was pretty cool. And then the other card I will share with you soon is the Mickey Mouse card that I made for my friend. So she is lucky enough that she works in Disney World. So she asked me to make her some Christmas cards. So I will share that with you really soon too. That was really fun. I used the punch for, oh goodness, where are they? I had them over here. For the Christmas bulb, and then just some punches to make the Mickey Mouse. So it was really, really cute. So thank you guys for your creatively challenged. You know what, Rhonda, everybody thinks that about themselves, and I think it's just the fact of sometimes you just don't give yourself enough credit. So thank you for the compliment, but I bet you all are probably just as, if not more creative than I am. But yeah, these were quick and simple, really, really easy to bang out. So if you guys have missed any of this video, if you're hopping in late, all you have to do, it will hit the replay soon. Just go back to the beginning and rewatch. We did make these with glycerin and with re-inkers. So you could do this with your ink pad, or if you don't have your ink pad handy, you could even just drop a drop of re-inker and then a drop of glycerin and mix them together. Do want to make sure you have your sponges out. And I'm going to go clean the sponges. And then the one card I made with the brayer, and I think this turned out really, really well. That was this card, which this one was one where I really wasn't so sure how it was going to be, but I think I like this one better than the first. I mean, the blending is great on both of them, but the layout of these houses, you know, another thing I could do to this to fix it after the fact is I could cut out some of the houses from the Hearts Come Home die and overlay them over top of some of these wonky houses. So I might have to do that before I mail that card to whoever it was that asked for it. But again, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining and coming at a different time. I do appreciate that. Apparently it is a smoother. Yeah, I guess that's what it does, is it smooths everything out a little bit better. I don't really know that much about it, Suzette, except the fact that I saw some other people do it. And I thought, well, I have to do that too, which is usually how I get a lot of my ideas. But and if you're not on there, Kathy, I was supposed to go live this morning, so make sure if you guys haven't got notifications and you're joining late, that you check your notifications for Rachthestamper, and you have to make sure that it says all, or else it won't alert you, because Facebook changes like every single week. So thank you guys for watching, and all goes well. I'll see you here next Wednesday back at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon.